We've assembled a special panel here this evening to talk about the film The Hunger Games. Of course, we got me and Chad here as always. We are the non-read folks on this section of the Hunger Games. So me and Chad have not read the book. From the We Have Read the Book camp, we have Kelly. Kelly, you might remember Kelly from the Harry Potter episode. Kelly, what is shaking?
Hey, how's it going? Nothing is shaking at the moment.
Okay, well, that's probably good. And we also have Laura from the Breaking Dawn show. Remember Laura? Laura, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. Ready to talk about the film phenomenon that is The Hunger Games.
What are the official numbers?
I think it was like 155 million in the first weekend, which is the third best opening weekend ever. But it was nice to see it crush Wrath of the Titans this week. That's always a good fun thing. So, of course, The Hunger Games is set in a future where the Capitol selects a boy and a girl from the 12 districts to fight to the death on live television. Katniss Everdeen volunteers to take her younger sister's place for the latest match. The Hunger Games, of course, directed by Gary Ross. It's written by Ross and with screenplay help from novelist Suzanne Collins, who wrote the book. And it stars Jennifer Lawrence, Josh Hutcherson, and Liam Hemsworth. All right, so I think I'll start out here. Again, I did not read the book, so take that into consideration. But there's been a lot of hype leading up for this movie, of course. This is the first installment of a 4-part film series based on the 3-part novel by Collins. Of course, taking its cue from franchises like Harry Potter and Twilight, this series will also split its final book into 2 films. Kind of went in with a chip on my shoulder. It seems the audience for this film was targeted as Twilight fans with a mix of Potter followers who are looking for their film series to latch onto now that Potter's done. But as a mid-30s male, I understand I'm not the ultimate demographic for this kind of film. I think the plot synopsis, my affinity for Jennifer Lawrence, and my wanting to participate in this podcast discussion ultimately drew me into the theater. Right off the bat, though, I want to say I did enjoy the film and will certainly be in the theater for the second installment. The overall story kept me interested. Jennifer Lawrence was great. I think the overall vision is fun. The broad contrast between the vibrantly colored and well-fed, privileged society that resides in the capital city versus the extremely drab and dulcet backdrop of the underfed outlying sectors was an interesting contrast. Sometimes I did groan to myself over some of the outlandish makeup jobs or overbearing colors, and I got to say, some very terrible facial hair going on here. I pretty much wanted to punch Wes Bentley in the face for that thing he had going on. It was fucking awful. And in contrast to that, you had Donald Sutherland's crazy all over the place beard, Grizzly Adams thing going on. But these things definitely help differentiate the classes within the film. So I love Jennifer Lawrence, of course, in here. I always enjoy Donald Sutherland. He doesn't get much to do here, but I expect his role will expand as the series rolls on. I also enjoy Woody whenever I can get some. Well, yeah, don't take that literally.
That's what she said.
Don't take that. Of course, Stanley Tucci is always good at disappearing into roles, and I thought his Caesar here was a treat. A lot of things I think are wrong with the film probably stem from the translation of the source material to the screen. I think you are speedily pushed through a series of underdeveloped relationships that all have these big emotional payoffs and just don't work for me because they felt unearned. Family stuff in the first act of the film, that's not a problem because obviously an emotional connection to a family is almost always implied, but every other relationship, or after Katniss leaves her home, doesn't work for me. Lenny Kravitz's Cinna character, Amanda Steinberg's Rue, and Josh Hutcherson's Peeta, they all had these big emotional interactions and payoffs, but they weren't developed enough for me.
Up.
Yeah, and it just, I couldn't buy into them, you know. Something you're going to probably get in the book to fix that is, you know, you'll probably you're probably fed what Katniss is thinking, but you don't have the benefit of that in a film, so felt kind of left behind on some of that stuff. The Rue stuff I could buy to some degree, but I really wish her storyline was more developed. I also had a problem with the shaky cam. There's too much of it. I think everything except the TV show scenes were handheld shaky cam, and it was just too busy for my taste. But the game stuff was really good, although the CGI sequence near the end was a bit lame. And I wasn't a big fan of Hutchinson in this. I'm on board to see where the series goes. Overall, an entertaining and fun film. I think the fact that I probably wanted to dislike it going in, and I came out actually liking the film, should say something for it. So, I don't know, kind of mixed, but I liked it. Kelly, being aficionado of the book series, what'd you think of the movie?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Eric. I will have to say that the movie was pretty damn good. I'm trying to think of some of the things that you were just saying that I had thoughts about. And one of the big complaints I had was the shaky cam. Just to start off with, I typically like movies with the shaky cam, but there was a lot in the beginning, in the first 20-25 minutes. The editing, it was like the camera was swishing, and then so I kept having to like blink my eyes really fast and like try to catch up with it, and I was very disorientated, and I typically didn't like that feeling, but after thinking about it, the beginning part of the movie where leading up to the games, that was a very complicated day for Katniss and Peeta and Prim and everybody else. So I think that the shaky cam actually kind of enveloped the whole complexity of the situation and the feelings of just inner chaos and doom, because when they do the calling of the tributes, it's just scary.
Yeah, I mean, I bought it in the... If I would have made this, I probably would have done the shaky cam in the outlying sectors stuff, the darker stuff, the more melancholy stuff, but yeah. I wouldn't have stuck with it through the capital stuff.
Yeah, I don't feel that they needed to carry it through the entire movie, but I can see where they thought, it would have been appropriate. So I am forgiving of that. I also wanted to comment on, you had mentioned the over-the-top colors and makeup and hairstyles and everything of the Capitol, and that was one of my favorite parts about this being made into a movie, because everything is so vivid and so alive, and it is drastically different than the districts. So just seeing everything made, real life, with all the crazy makeup, and I mean, I was just blown away. I was so happy with what they did with that. And Seneca Crane's facial hair was something that I did look forward to seeing as well. They do discuss this very intricately detailed, facial hair on him in the book, and so I was interested to see what it actually looked like.
And was it a big payoff for you?
It definitely, yeah, it was worth it. Another thing that I really liked about the movie, as far as details go, were when she had the fire, her and Peeta had the fire on their outfits on the chariot coming in, and then her dress lit up on fire during her interview with Caesar Flickerman. In the book, I couldn't picture it. I just couldn't. And so that was really nice to see. Overall, though, like casting, acting, everything, the choices that they made with the actors, Woody Harrelson playing Haymitch, I thought was brilliant. I'm so glad he signed on to that. Yeah, I really don't have a lot of complaints. I loved it, and I'm definitely going to be there opening weekend, if not opening night, to see the next one. So I'm thrilled that it got such a great opening. They weren't going to do any more movies until they had seen some results in ticket sales. So now they're definitely going to do it, and I'm happy for that.
A lot of flack on the internet about Lenny Kravitz. Was it a problem for you?
No, when I heard Lenny Kravitz was cast as Cinna, I don't really like Lenny Kravitz. He's an annoying musician for me. But Cinna, in my mind, he carries himself. And Lenny Kravitz does have that persona where he's his own person, and he was the right choice for the role. Definitely. I'm okay with that.
Fair enough. Laura, what did you think of the Hunger Games?
Well, I find myself nodding along to everything you guys are saying. First, the shaky cam. That was sort of driving me nuts because here you are, I have read these books and I'm looking so forward to seeing all of these details, and then it's like you couldn't see. I mean, I felt that the people of the Capitol, it was a disservice to the makeup artists and to the costume designers because you really couldn't see exactly what they were wearing, and you got glimpses, but it didn't give your eye enough time to really take it in, I thought. Lenny Kravitz, I thought that he definitely personified Cinna. Cinna is from the Capitol, but in the book, he is described as much more simple than with the fashions of the Capitol, and he just had the gold eyeliner was like his only indication that he was from the Capitol. And I thought that, Lenny Kravitz definitely looked the part of that, and that the other three preparers of Katniss, her makeup artists in the movie, those characters were over the top, and they talked over the top, and they were very feminine, and Cinna was such a contrast to them because he was self-assured and confident and not overly dramatic. So I thought Lenny Kravitz played that very well. Jennifer Lawrence was amazing. She nailed so many small details about her character. For example, in the interview, they did a great job of showing just how nervous she was because she knew that she, as the character, that she had to make people like her, and how important it was for her to survive these games to start that survival process with that interview. And they did a great job of showing she couldn't, when he asked her first question, she said, "What?" And Jennifer Lawrence just really, the facial expressions, the hesitation, the body language, I thought she played that so well. And then again, so she could play nervous, and then she could play this also the other side of Katniss, which was a lethal weapon in these games. And she was able to, you could see her go into survival mode, and then she'd come back out of it when she found Peeta and he was injured. And then that leads to Rue. I know that there has been some buzz on the internet about Rue is the wrong color or too dark or something. And I thought, I wasn't even thinking about that. I was thinking about how much Rue, the character or the actress they got to play Rue, reminded me of the character or the actress that plays Primrose. And that was the whole idea. Katniss felt protective of Rue because she reminded her of her sister. And so I thought that Rue was gentle like Primrose. They had sort of a similar nature, and that actress who played Rue was able to pull that off.